In just a second, I'm going to be introducing author N.J. Cartner, also known as Nigel Cartner, and we're going to be talking about his debut novel, Lost in Manchester, Found in Las Vegas. This book came out in September. He found me on Facebook, and I'm going to ask him how he found me because I really don't know. And he asked me to read it, and I read it, and I was like, yes, I definitely want to talk to you about this. So I love when I find debut novels like his, and they're so good. I just want to tell everybody about them. So everyone, here is Nigel. Hi everyone, I am so excited to be speaking with author Nigel Cartner, and we're going to be talking about his brand new book, and he's going to hold it up because he's got the physical book called Lost in Manchester and Found in Vegas. And I love how it like starts off with, you know, what I'm assuming are Manchester buildings because and then going towards the light of Vegas. I love that.
Yeah, that was the idea that I had years ago when I was fortunate enough to know a fantastic illustrator, Stacey Knowles, and she just took the idea of what I wanted, and she come up with that, and it's absolutely perfect.
That's awesome. I love this book, but you know, I have so much history in Vegas. I live in Pennsylvania right now, okay?
Right.
But I got married in Vegas back in the day.
Right.
Back in the day, like way back in '86, and when I was so young, I didn't know what I was doing. But whatever.
Was that a one night thing as well? Was that like one of them times where you got drunk and you just got married, or was it all planned?
No, it was my high school boyfriend. Okay, he was stationed in Southern California, and I had gone out to live with him. And he said, let's go get married in Vegas. And I was like, I kind of wanted a wedding. But anyway, it was crazy. And I know you've been to Vegas, but how they did it back then, and I don't know how they do it now. But at the courthouse, you walk into the courthouse, you get your paper, you walk across the street, you get married. I mean, it's just like that. And it's a line of people. Like, you're not the only person. It's a line. It's a long line, okay? So, I mean, but yeah, I think there were people there that kind of did that, but that was not our case, but it still was a story, you know, it's still like how many people get married in Vegas? A lot of people do, but anyway, so I have a long history with Vegas. I've been there many, many times. I love it, but I also loved seeing it through your eyes too, because I've been there so much now, it's like, to see it through the eyes of Ricky, like who hadn't, you know, his first time there. It was really fun. And I can't believe this is your debut novel. I really can't. It's great. So.
Oh, thank you very much.
And I wanted to ask you, how did you find me?
Through Richard Wall.
Oh, I kept thinking it was another guy that I had interviewed. I kept thinking it was him. I love Richard.
He did the book Fat Man Blues.
I love him. Yes, that was so nice of him. Yeah.
Yeah, he's only because we got chatting through an author group, and we swapped books, and we just talking in general about marketing because we're both kind of self-published, and he dropped your name. He said it might be worth contacting yourself, and because you do this, you do like these video blogs and put them on YouTube and etc. So yeah, that's where we are.
That's where we are. I'm really happy that I asked you because I was thinking it was another guy, but I love Richard. He was awesome. We had so much fun. We laughed like the entire interview. So
yeah,
he's a great guy.
Yeah, he's a good guy. I mean, I've only recently met him as well. So I mean, I've not physically met him, just online. So. He's a really, really good guy, and I'm in the middle of his book as well. I'm slowly chipping through it because I'm still writing myself, but I'm really enjoying it.
Yeah, and when you sent it to me, I had started reading it, and then of course I'm doing like 3 of these a day, so my reading schedule is tight, And then, but I remember I went back to it, and then I was like, oh, I got to get in touch with him again, and then you got in touch with me again. I was like, oh, I'm so happy because you reminded me, because it gets crazy after a while. But I'm so happy
I suppose. With a book as well, obviously it takes a bit of time to read through, and it's it's not always it's not a quick thing to do, isn't it? So I couldn't exactly just let you send it over to you, and then 2 days later they're like, "Are you ready yet?"
Yeah. Well, I had it on my Kindle, so I kept reading it in between stuff. you know. But then on Saturday, I finished like the second half of it, and I was just like, wow, this is such a good book. I mean, first of all, I mean, I guess you know, since I interviewed Richard, like I love music, okay?
Yeah.
But I loved how you kept bringing music just like he did. You know, you kept bringing music back into the book. And for me, whenever I thought about the day, I used to have, maybe you can understand how crazy this is, but I used to think if I wrote a book, it was going to have intervals of music in it, right? So I would write it out like my life in music. Like, oh, in this month of this year, I was listening to this, or I was listening, and that's how I kind of looked at my own autobiography, was
Yeah.
what I was listening to. And that's kind of how it is with him, which is why it resonated with me so much, because I was like, somebody else has thought it. Even though he's a fictional character, you did that with him, and I love that.
Yeah, I mean, the music aspect of it, it's, obviously a huge music fan, and I think with music, it's the emotion that it invokes, and I mean, I'm one of them people who, I can be driving down the road, driving to work, and I can be lost in my own world, and the music part of the drive is very important, and I can kind of come up with scenarios. It's almost like a soundtrack, like, for example, you're walking through Vegas, like the first time you walk through a casino, and AC/DC comes on. It's like a perfect song, to have while you're walking through the casino. And on the flip side of that, you've got the more emotive side of it, where things are coming to a culmination, which I don't want to, give away too many details. But "Hurt" by Johnny Cash comes on.
Right.
So yeah, I just think the music aspect of it is it's huge. I think it's something which I'm going to be continuing in other books as well, because the response to that has been really, really well received. Like yourself saying that you love the soundtrack elements to it. A lot of people have said the same thing.
Yeah, and I love how at the end of the book, I just want to show everybody that you write. I don't know when it comes, but you do a song list, and I was like, that is so perfect. I mean, some of them I know. What I love about this song list is it's so varied. Like I don't listen to one type of music. I listen to everything. And when I was going through the list, I was like, wow, yeah, he listens to music like I do. Like it's just all over the place, but that's what makes it fun, I think. But I was born in 1964, okay? In October of 1964. Yeah. And my dad's, we lived in a very small apartment. My parents were very young. They were teenagers when they had me. And their stereo was in my bedroom of the apartment, and it was the British Invasion. It was the Beatles.
Yeah.
By the time I was 3, I knew every lyric to the Beatles songs, because they would play it all. My dad would play the music all the time, and I feel like it was just in my brain, and and then all through until probably the early 1970s. That's just the way it was. My brother and I were just indoctrinated into music by for listening to his stereo. So when I was going through this, I was like, wow, this is crazy. What a great idea.
I know. Well, thank you very much. And you've certainly been around at the best time in music. I mean, that's one of. I mean, it's beyond my control, but I wish I would have been there to be around in the 1960s and 1970s, and even the 1980s. But unfortunately, no, I'm stuck with this new generation.
I know, you're so young. Exactly. But okay, so I didn't know where Manchester was. Okay, I've never been to England. I wish. I mean, I'm half English. I would love to go to England sometime. And as we're speaking, my one daughter just flew yesterday to Amsterdam.
Right.
And she's kind of been around Europe. She went to Italy last year, and it's like I'm living my traveling through her sort of, and I saw on the map, I'm like, wow, that's not that far from England. I mean, she's over there, she's traveling around for a couple of weeks, but I saw that Manchester is I didn't know where it was, so I looked it up on a map yesterday. I was like, wow, that is really further north than I had envisioned. I envisioned it closer to London. Okay, but you're up there, and so is it a different world than the London scene?
Oh, very much so. Yeah, a lot of the UK is very different. There is a north-south divide, and then within that you've got different sub categories as well. I mean, Liverpool, where the Beatles are from,
right?
That's only an hour away from Manchester, and even though there's similar values and upbringing, we are poles apart as well. in general, we don't like each other, Manchester and Liverpool, but we're so close to each other. And it's the same with kind of like a north-south divide as well. Manchester and London. There's always a bit of rivalry there. And I'm sure Liverpool will be able to say the same about, it's a culture all to itself. And Manchester is very much like that. It's a very unique place. And I suppose the north in general in England is a little bit like that. It's very different. It's very culturally diverse, and a lot of great things in life, like which have been on a global scale, have come from the north of England, like with the Industrial Revolution. If you look at the music that's come from the north, it's just it's incredible. Obviously, starting with the Beatles, and then just from there, you've got like the likes of the Hollies, a bit more recently with Oasis and Stone Roses. List just goes on and on and on. And what I found as well with them in America when I was there last year is something similar to what you said as well about how people didn't know where Manchester was, and it's seen as like London is seen as like the place in England, but it's definitely not. England is so much more, and many people will argue that it's the north that is the true version of it, true reflection of England.
Yeah. I was telling my son, my 18-year-old son, that I was going to be interviewing you today, and I said, did you ever hear of Manchester? He's like, yeah. He's like, ask him if he likes soccer.
Football, we call it.
Football. He's like, that's what I know about Manchester. I was like, oh, well, he's into sports, so that's pretty funny.
Well, yeah, I mean, you got the whole Manchester United, who I'm sure you've heard of because of global appeal and massive in America and American owners. Yeah. So that's what they do. Yeah, that all comes from Manchester.
Well, I said Ricky did talk in the book. You do bring up soccer to Ricky, so, with him. So
yeah,
I was like,
very loosely, yeah.
Yeah, very loosely. But okay, so there are a couple of things, and we don't do spoilers, so don't worry about that. I never do that because I want people to read this book. But so this guy gets dumped, okay, Ricky, and the name of the woman who dumps him is named Mandy. Right?
Yeah.
And okay, and you're young, so you probably don't know this, but there's a Barry Manilow song called Mandy.
Oh yeah, I know that. Yeah.
Do you know that song? Okay, and it's all about how Mandy dumps him. So I just thought that was kind of funny.
I didn't actually know that. I know the song, but I didn't know it was about that. So yeah, it's like kind of. Mandy, I should have really thrown that in.
Yeah, it's like you came and you get so like to us like it's always like Mandy's this name of this girl that to anyone who knows that song that just is mean and just dumps him and so I was like, well, maybe you're really into music, maybe you knew that, but you are young, so we'll.
I didn't know the song though, but yeah, I didn't know the meaning.
Well, you know what? It's very appropriate. Let's just put it that way. It's a very appropriate name for it. And so he gets a couple of his buddies, and they decide they're going to go to Vegas and do it up for 6 days, basically. And it's just like I said, I've been there so much, but I've never been there like that. I've never gotten to do what he got to do, so sort of. Maybe in different stages, but I mean, they you take a bunch of kids. I call them kids, but and send them off to Vegas, and then I was like, okay, how did you pick Vegas? Because I think aren't there cities in Europe that are like Vegas, or is Vegas known to you as like that city, like that?
Yeah, Vegas has got that stigma attached to it. It's like, I mean, there are great places in Europe, but in terms to have that time, it had to be Vegas. And plus, I actually went there myself anyway. It was right. So it was loosely based on the true story.
Right.
And because I think I've always been attracted to kind of American cinema and a lot of American literature as well. Yes. And I've seen like films like Swingers and Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas and Red Books by Bukowski, and you always saw this kind of element of like despair about stuff. Like in Swingers, the film, because the guy's he breaks up, doesn't he, with his long-term girlfriend, and they go to Vegas. That's like the opening sequence. And I just thought it'd be interesting, like how that story would pan out from a British point of view, a Mancunian point of view, because as far as I know, there's nothing that's been done on that scale. Yet in America, stories like that are in abundance. The Hangover. I know it's not necessarily a breakup story, but it's about what a group of lads can do while they're away. But you just don't see it from the British point of view.
Right. And when I went to go get married in Vegas, I drove there because I was living in Southern California. It's a 5-hour drive, and so you never drove there, right? You only flew there, right?
This particular trip, we didn't drive, but when I went to America last year, we did the drive from LA to Las Vegas.
Okay, so you know what? I don't know if it's still like this, but back in the 80s when I did the drive, you're driving through desert, and you kind of drive up a hill, and as you come to the top of the hill, you look down and you just see like lights because it's so dark and it's like Vegas kind of just lights up. And I remember sitting there like we just parked and just to look at that scene of like being on top of, and then you just kind of drive down into Vegas. And it's kind of like that when you fly there too, because there's nothing, and then all of a sudden you see this dot, and it just gets bigger and bigger, and it just lights up the whole desert.
It was more the flight that we saw that, because we landed on that first trip. We landed in early evening, but when we drove from LA to Vegas, it was light, so we didn't get that kind of impact. Seeing the lights coming in the distance, but we could see this civilization, just building up, from far away, and it's like, that's got to be Vegas. We've got to be nearly there.
Yeah, you just drive right to there. But the Strip in the 80s was like the old time movies. Okay, you had just the Strip, right?
Yeah.
And the last time I was there, which was a couple of years ago, it's just so different. I mean, the hotels are just unbelievable now. I mean, you go into it in the book, and it's just like the Bellagio and the different, like those hotels are just out of this world. You could stay in the hotel all day and not ever leave. And
yeah. I think that's what it's designed to do, isn't it? It's designed to imprison you in some way.
Yeah. And I like how you brought up with him about, pumping oxygen in the thing, because that was always a myth. Like I remember when I was there, I was like, do they really? And then you stay up all the time and you're like, I think they do. I think they pump oxygen.
Yeah, they must do, yeah. I've never been able to be up for that amount of time and then have so little sleep and be up wide awake again in my life, but only in Vegas, and I can only put it down to a combination of the adrenaline and the oxygen that they're pumping into the rooms.
Well, I loved, I'm going to tell you my favorite, okay, so the music was awesome, but I loved about Ricky was how he, in those 6 days, he kind of has, they always tell you that the main character has to go through a transformation. And in 6 days, he really did. He went through such a significant transformation. And I loved that. And, like I said, we're not going to give spoilers, but I loved his journey into kind of finding himself, which the title does tell you anyway. So,
yeah.
that he kind of finds himself. But, in the way the book goes, like day by day, you just see it. It's like the first day he comes in and he's all just like, stay up for, 48 hours but then you see it as he progresses and gets better and better. And I love the ending. So I'll just say I love it. Don't skip to the ending anyway, people. You won't get it. So
yeah.
Just read the book. But are you writing another book now?
Yes, it is equal to this one. So obviously I can't go into too much detail because it'll give away how this one ends. But yeah, I'm on with that one at the moment.
How far are you into it?
I'm probably about a third of the way through. But the ideas are all there. And it's just a case of, just getting this first draft done in full, and then working with my editor on it, and then, just kind of polishing it up, and then we'll see what happens. So, I mean, the first one took me quite a while to do because, it was my first one, so I was a bit nervous about showing it to anyone, but now I know what to expect, and the process should hopefully be a bit quicker, and I'm fully focused on this one now, whereas in the first one, I was involved in a radio station and music journalism as well, and at the moment I'm not doing anything on that, so I'm just completely focusing on this.
Oh, that's awesome. I was really hoping you were going to do a sequel to it. I really was.
Well, to be fair, it does end in a way where there has to be a sequel, doesn't it? I've created a rock from my own back there.
Yeah, and I just wanted to see what happens to him, Like, I'm not ready to be done with him yet as a main character. Like, I want to see where he goes from here,
Yeah,
and there's so many possibilities too.
Yeah, it obviously follows Ricky, but it's going to be a completely different story. But as you know from reading the ending, you know where it leads to, where the second one's going to start.
I do, but I kind of see 2 roads he could go down, but that's just me. Well, I'm really happy that we got to figure this out. We had Nigel and I had some technical issues, but we made this happen, and I'm so happy. I'm so grateful that Richard pointed you my way, because that's I I always get nervous when someone's like, "Here, read my book," because I'm afraid. Like, what if I don't like it, and then I have to like, I don't know what to do. And I was so happy that I loved your book. I mean, I was like, "Yes, I loved it. Let's tell everybody about it. Let's just do this and get everybody,
Oh,
and get everybody reading it and giving you some reviews on Amazon and just get it out there because it's so important. And I really
yeah.
want you to keep writing and encourage you, that
Thank you very
that you
much.
definitely have a gift, and this was a great story, and it was a great debut novel. And from here, it's like you said, it gets even easier, and you know what you're doing a little bit more, and you get out there, and you know I'm really
Yeah,
happy for you.
definitely. Yeah, it's. I think before the launch date for it, which we actually had in a casino as well in Manchester.
Oh, that's awesome.
And it's like a Vegas style casino as well, so it was all very suitable. But up until that point, I was so nervous. I was just thinking, what am I doing? I'm letting the whole world read this book, and all my friends and family. What are they going to do? Given that there's certain scenes in it as well, which are a little bit risque, let's say.
But you know
So
what? Okay, and I'm not. Well, I don't read. You know, those books are out there. That's not what this book is about. You know,
no, no, no,
it's very
definitely not.
appropriate for what, this is a young guy. I thought it was very appropriate. I wasn't, like, oh my God. I was, like, if it wouldn't have had it, you wouldn't have believed it. Okay. So
Yeah,
it wouldn't have fit him. So,
yeah.
but I do understand like getting your first baby out there and being like, okay, read this and see how you like it,
Yeah.
Especially as a young
It's
guy
frightening.
like you. And you know what? And you're self-publishing right now, but someday,
Someday, who knows? Yeah.
yeah, no, I really think. I mean, I know so many people that went out and self-published, and then you go this route, and you'll get picked up, and they'll be fighting over you, and then you get to decide. So that's
Oh,
just
fingers crossed. Let's hope so.
yeah, just keep on writing, okay. And
Thank you
everybody
very much. Will
show
do.
the cover again because it is an amazing cover. I love the cover, especially for a self-published author. You don't always get amazing covers, and look at this. It is
There we go.
gorgeous. Gorgeous.
Stacey Knowles, absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, I love it. Love it.
And can I also say as well that we actually did an official song for the launch as well.
That's right. I did see that.
It's
Yes.
called "Searching for Answers" by Matt Friars. And tonight, what I'm going to do is I've just done a video for it, so we can go on YouTube. So I'll post that on, and I'll let you share it about. And
Absolutely.
yeah, it's a song that suits the desert. That's all I can
Awesome.
say. I'll just have to let you listen to it.
Yeah, and when I saw that, I was like, does he mean there was really a song written for, for this, or he picked one? But you mean there was actually, the song was written for this book?
Yeah, there was a specific song written for it, and because of like my work in music as well, I've got to know some fantastic
Right.
people, and we had bands playing at the launch as well. So special mention to Mohawk Radio. They were the headline band, and they let me use a song for the soundtrack because we even did like a little 4-track soundtrack as well to give away with the book. And Jess Kemp as well, another fantastic artist. So them three, they definitely check them out on YouTube. They're all brilliant.
And I think that that's a great way for a book like this that has music in it. What a great way to promote, the both. I think that's a great idea. I kind of always envisioned it myself, so I'm glad you're doing it.
Cheers.
Right. Okay, everybody. This is Nigel. You saw his book. I will have his links listed under here. We'll also post the video link under here. And please, when you're done with it, send it my way. We'll have another one and we'll talk. Okay.
Definitely, no doubt about.
Thank you, Nigel.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Cheers.
Bye.
Bye.
We're back, everyone. Wasn't that so much fun? I loved talking to Nigel. I mean, what a great book. I am not kidding. Debut novel. Go get this book. And if you made it this far, that means you listened to our whole interview or watched us. And I will have all of Nigel's links listed under here. And if you liked watching us or listening to us, please hit like. And if you want to get updates on all my videos, please subscribe. Thanks, guys.